Hello and welcome to another day on Cornwall Pocket Farm. My name is Jenny and today I thought I would give you a quick turn around the kitchen garden because we're, well, a couple of days out from spring starting. So I just thought I'd show you what my winter garden looks like, and also I have a bit of a Kumara reveal that I filmed a couple of weeks back now, and it's just been sitting as footage on my computer, so I thought I'd join these two things up today because I'm working on a special and highly rushed sewing project as always, but it's not ready for release yet, so that will be coming soon. So let's get on with a sort of a micro garden tour really. First thing I should show you is the first of my seedlings. So I start my seedlings in August, and sometimes I start them in July, but this time I've started them in August. I have some, these are my early tomatoes, my potted early tomatoes that I hope to start harvesting sort of by late November, maybe early December, certainly in time for Christmas. I've got some lettuce and I've got some rocket and actually some very poorly germinating peas. They're snap peas, but I think the seeds were a little bit old. I've not got much germination at all. I do them in my toilet rolls like this just to give them a really good start, because at this time of year there's a lot of slug and snail activity. And I find if I get them growing sort of up to sort of about here, when they start to have their tendrils that curl around each other, I then dig a trench and put everything, the toilet roll and the peas, in the ground, and away they go. And they seem to do much better like that. Anyway, let's go and have a look at the garden. I'm just going to put my garden shoes on and then we will head out. I can tell that it's spring soon because look, the buds on my grapes are already bursting with the first leaves of spring. Hopefully this wind noise won't be too much. Oh, there's Maggie come to see what we're doing. Hi Maggie. No, I'm just passing through, just going up to the gate to see what's happening. Have a quick look. Yeah. Anything happening? No. Just thought I'd show you my lemon tree. That's absolutely rocking. I mean, we have just got so many lemons. I've made marmalade, I've made all sorts of lemon things, and it's still coming. So that's very, very successful. I think it's really happy because the roots are right next to the chicken coop, so it probably gets a whole bunch of nutrients. That's doing really well. And also avocados. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but we are eating so many avocados at the moment. I'm not doing a whole garden tour. I just thought I'd show you the kitchen garden. So, oh, shadow. Unfortunately, there's a bit of a shadow because it's sunny today. But you'll see, as I've said before, I have weeds. I don't weed really between clearing the beds and planting them out, but I do put grass clippings down, which is what you can see in between. I have a bunch of chard and some Cavolo Nero, a few strawberries in those pots that need rehoming. I've got a bunch of brassicas here. Now, that is one of those curly, twirly sort of Romanescos, I think they're called. Now, it looks like it's blown, but the way that we do it is actually we leave it till it opens like that so we can take the little florets off separately, because we don't really like a full head so much. That's not the same as these violet cauliflowers. Look at that. I mean, look at the colour there. How glorious is that? Beautiful, beautiful head coming. So I've got a few of those coming. There's one that's a little bit more behind there, another one that's a bit smaller, and again you'll see these Romanescos in between, and we leave the Romanescos to blow a bit so that we can eat the little separate spigots, if you like, but the violet cauliflower heads we eat whole. My broad beans are growing on. I need to tie them up with a bit more string. Actually, they'll start to blow over because we get a lot of wind in the spring. So they're doing well. I have some lettuces here. These are all self-seeded lettuces because I leave my lettuces to go to seed in the garden and then they just pop up all over the place. So we've got a good crop of lettuces coming along there. Also have some, I think they might be onions. I think they're onions. I've got some leeks over here. Oh, again in the shadows. Now my leeks are really, really behind this year because we had a drought and they all died in the drought. So I only put them in when we got the first rains at the beginning of winter. And yeah, we're going to be having some baby leeks. We've got some curly kale at the back there, looking rather nice. Another self-seeded lettuce there. And this red-leaved this red leaf plant that you can see there, that's mustard, and we actually really quite like the mustard in pasta. We just pick the leaves individually and wilt it into our sort of pasta dishes, which is rather lovely. So that's France. That's one of my sunny beds, which is doing really nicely. This one over here is England. This is a shady bed. As you can see, it's now coming into sun at the front, but still totally shaded at the back. So we're starting to get a bit more sun here. And as you can see, the broccoli heads are, it's amazing actually that broccoli will grow. Even that one at the back, which has been in full shade all winter, is having a head now. It's growing a flower. So those again, we pick, they're sprouting broccoli, so we'll pick that head and then it'll take out side shoots, will come again. You can see the side shoots starting to come down here actually. So that's the main head up there, and then the side shoots come. So if we take the head, the little ones will start to come. And that goes on for quite a while, and then eventually we just leave it to go to flower. So again, I've got spinach over here. There's some very old chard at the back and some Cavolo Nero. Looking for asparagus. So basically those are last year's asparagus fronds that have been cut down onto the bed. I haven't seen anything yet, but it shouldn't be that long before we see spears coming up. Looking forward to the first asparagus. I really enjoy that. We've got some more chard over here, and this, as you can see, this flower here, this was Rapini, and it has gone to flower, and we leave that for the early bees, and we have already had some nice big bumblebees in the garden, so that's very nice to see. Again, some more tiny leeks, chard, Cavolo Nero. Let's go and have a look in Germany, because again, that's a shady bed. So here we go. This is Germany. Now this is, we've had most of the top actually at the moment, but this is my purple sprouting broccoli that has been in a year. I put this in last spring. I put it in this bed that is obviously a shady bed, but then grow it up these stakes so that when it comes to this time of year, the top is in sunshine. Those leaves are getting sunshine. And it makes good use of that space, and we have some beautiful purple sprouting broccoli there. We've got some more Romanesco here that you can see we're picking the little florets as they come along. Another purple, another violet cauliflower down there. And then here again, this is a different type of sprouting broccoli, an Italian variety. I can't remember the name at the moment, but we do have a lot of broccoli in our garden at the moment. And here you can see some more. So we've had the top off that, and now we've got lots of little florets coming. Again, you can see there the main top has come off, and we're getting florets now. So the broccoli and the florets, they're all coming on. We eat a lot of broccoli and leaves, chard, spinach, Cavolo Nero, all of those sorts of things in winter. My rhubarb at the back is looking really happy and healthy. I must do a harvest of that actually, because when spring happens it'll really start to kick off. So I will harvest a load of rhubarb, stew it and put it in the freezer. The quince at the back is still nothing happening there, still deciduous. And then we have a clematis in the corner, which is a beautiful white clematis up. That's Big Ben, that structure there. That is not happening yet, but that'll be coming soon and looking rather beautiful. And again, down this side, I have some, this is the sticky remnants of beans. These are my gigantis beans, and I actually grow them in New Zealand as a perennial. So they'll come back in when the weather warms, and then they climb all the way up this wall and give us a whole good crop of beans. So that's Germany. And remember, this bed is shady. This is a shady bed. All through the winter it's shady, but you can see the sun now is coming in the morning. It's in the front of the bed. This is Italy, and Italy is one of my sunny beds, so it's a little bit more ahead of the shady beds. You can see that some of these brassicas are quite big, and they have been well picked over. We're on sort of final small florets at this point. Some more chard here. Again, these brassicas are trogging along. So these here have yet to have any heads at all. So they're all a bit of a mix. Some more Romanescos over there, some well picked over broccoli. And these are some peas. Let me just go to the front because they have more peas on the front. So these are some peas, beautiful flowers. I can't remember what they are now. I'll put it on the screen when I look at the seed packet. But these are snap peas. We eat them like that, little mange too. But beautiful flowers. They look really pretty. And so those peas are doing quite nicely and we're eating those at the moment. I also have a hanging basket up here. This is some snap peas. So that's just got a cloth on it at the moment to protect it from the birds. But that will grow peas soon and trail down, and we will have those. That will probably pick up when these finish. And then the idea is that ones in the conservatory will pick up after those, and also we'll be having the broad beans at that time. So that's just a quick look at my kitchen garden. Hopefully the sand isn't too bad. My espaliers, apples, pears, they're all looking pretty sticky at the moment. There's no buds or anything showing on that yet. But yeah, it won't be long. Spring in a couple of days, and yeah, better get cracking. I'm thinking it's time to harvest the Kumara bed. So if you remember, this is my bin hide, and basically my rubbish bins are back there, and on top of it my daughter and I have built this Kumara bed, and it's been romping away all summer, and we're obviously in the middle of winter now. And as you can see, well, hopefully you can see, I've got a passion fruit growing in there. I've got a bunch of weeds. What I need to do here is basically snip these bits off, put them in some water and get them to root, and then they'll stay in the conservatory until they're rooted and happy little plants, and then they will go back out into this bed when the weather gets warmer. And that's essentially all I do. It is so efficient, effective, quick, cheap. You have no idea. So it's looking a bit of a mess at the moment, and I thought I would take you along for the harvest and see what buried treasure we have. Okay, so I'm stood on the top of a ladder now. The first job is to go through all of these seedlings and these weeds, definite weeds. Go through all these weeds, find bits of the Kumara and snip them off, because the first thing is to rescue the Kumara seedlings and get those into some water. I may well rescue the passion fruit as well, because I can plant that somewhere else in the garden. So that's the first job, because I'm going to need enough Kumara to put back in the planter and rescue anything good. Actually, there's another passion fruit seedling there as well. So that's the first job. Then, of course, I need to clear all the weeds. I'm going to try and angle you down so you can see what I'm doing, but might be hit and miss, because you're actually now sort of precariously connected to that trellis that is behind the planter. But anyway, let's hope it works. I have a good amount here of cuttings. They need cleaning up. I need to take all the sort of end leaves off them, and some of them are quite yellow because it's been quite cold here, and that's what basically kills it off. But there's been enough around the place to get enough cuttings, so I'm just going to clean off the bait. I basically just take off the lower leaves and then just stick them in a big jar of water in the conservatory, and they can sit there for several months actually, and then come out here as the weather warms up. Right. Next, get them in water, because I think once you cut the cuttings, it's important to get them in water soon so they don't start to wilt. They have a better chance. And because I find that it's easier to do it this way around than it is to sort of, well, sourcing slips is really, really hard to do. So to actually get the slips from a garden centre to put in, I found that really tricky to find. And making your own Kumara slips by sort of putting a Kumara in a dish and all that sort of stuff, it's quite a lot of work, and I find this the simplest way to do it. It just goes around and around and around. So, and I'm all about doing it as easily as possible. I'm a very lazy gardener. I basically do just enough to get the food that I need. So there we go, in the jar, ready to create roots. I just keep the water topped up. They'll be happy like that for a couple of months, no worries at all. And hopefully they'll green up a little bit because it's not as cold in the conservatory. And here my Kumara cuttings are a few weeks later. It really doesn't take long for them to make a bunch of roots. So I need to top that up with some fresh water actually. But yeah, that's what I do. They sit here, grow roots, quite happy. Gloves on. The next job is to actually clear all of the weeds. So I'll tip you down and I'll speed it up as well because it'll be very boring. But let's get this bed cleared and get rid of these weeds.
All right.
Oh, I can see some yams on the top here. Going to need a harvest bucket, I think, already. I'll just harvest everything and sort through it. once I get back indoors. Seriously, happiness sturtium in here, but it has to come out. Usually it would have died back by now, but no. Look, there's quite a few yams just sitting here on the surface, so I'll get those out. Okay, well, I will continue to clear this bed, and I'll bring you back once I start to dig for the treasure. Okay, the bed is pretty much cleared now, so I just need to start going through it and looking for the kumara. I've got my harvest pot, and essentially I'm just going to work my way through it. The first thing I need to do is move the irrigation out of the way, but it's just pinned down, and then I will go through it. It's not very deep, it's only a shallow bed, because kumara quite like a shallow bed. They go down to the bottom and then they stop, and then they really sort of bulk up. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and tip you down so you can see what I'm doing. I don't know how successful this is going to be, but we will see. But I will show you obviously the results at the end and what I find, good or bad. It could be a horrible harvest, but you never really know until you've done it. There's a bit of elbow grease required. I don't want to, I try not to use the trowel if I can help it, because otherwise it could damage the kumara. So I try and get them out whole without any damage. But right, I'm actually just going to get another bucket, because I need to put some of the soil in a bucket so that I can sort of move from one side to the other, because once I get the first bit clear, it's easier then to sort of move the soil along and then put this soil in the other end, if you see what I mean. So of course the other thing that I do is, when I've got all the kumara out of here, the bed will have dropped a little bit, so I will put some new compost, some enriched compost in here from my chicken coop, and that'll then top it up. But I won't do that until spring, and I plant the new kumara. Just for now, when it's empty, I basically just cover it over with some sort of garden fabric of some description, some sort of shade cloth or something, just to sort of minimize the weed growth. And then I'll come back, top it up with some good soil, and then go again. What I might do is actually carry on with this and bring you back a bit little later on when I've got more of the harvest out, and you can see where I'm up to. It was an amazing harvest. Really, really, really pleased. This last year I put in the irrigation into this bed, and it made a massive difference. So the year before we didn't get that much because the bed dried out, which is why I put the irrigation into this bed, and absolutely stunned. So I have filled this original harvest container, and I now have a whole bunch of them in here as well. I will of course weigh the amount that I've got. I've got a few little yams as well, but it's mainly kumara in here. So I did the calculation on the size of this bed. So this bed is actually 0.2 of a cubic meter. So it's a fifth, essentially, yeah, just under a fifth of a cubic meter. And it's a bit of space above my bins. So it's a planter. If you look back at my videos, you'll see how long it took us to build it. Partly because nothing is straight, and because we had to, come down here a bit. No, partly because nothing is really straight, and we just had to make it out of scrap wood that we had lying around, and a few bits that I found lying on the side of the road. So the wood cost us nothing. The soil essentially is just out of the chicken coop. There's no, I don't buy soil for this bed. I literally just fill it up with the compost from our compost heap and around the chicken coop. I put in the slips, as you've seen, they go round and round and round. So there really is no input
in this bed. There's the bus coming back. Great being on a bus route sometimes and not so much when you're filming. So there really is no financial input into this bed at all. And as I say, a couple of times a year I do some stuff. I plant out, I clear the bed, harvest. That's literally all I do. And I add in a bit more compost on the top because it sinks down, and I get that out of my chicken coop. So I mean, all of this, just free food. All I really need to do is put in a little bit of labour, and a little bit, I mean, I'm talking small amount. This clearing it and harvesting probably, I don't know, under an hour to do this once a year. And then planting out, I mean, heavens, make a hole, stick it in, that's it. So, and that's it, that's all I do. The water we irrigate with is rainwater, so again, costs nothing. And it is one of my big success stories in the garden, to be honest. It is, as I say, a bit of spare ground. Well, it's not even ground. It's a little bit of space in the air above my rubbish bins. So I'm very pleased with this year's harvest, and this little bed certainly earns its keep. And there we are, all tucked up. Maggie is in charge of curing my Kumara. Obviously you need a dog to sit on your Kumara to properly cure it. Anyway, it's laying out in the sun now so that it can all dry and the skins can harden just a little bit. Did the numbers, and we actually have 8 kilos of Kumara there, so very pleased with that harvest.